And then they gave me an award called the Business Buyout. They signed up Mahendra Singh Dhoni as the brand ambassador at that time.
Why WordPress space?
I probably would have not been in the WordPress space. I probably would have been doing something else altogether. How can we offer incredible quality products, incredibly low prices? By the way, it's very, very, very tough to close white label partnerships with not only hosts, but anybody, okay?
What you're just explaining to me seems like a really difficult goal to achieve.
What we did is we published the pricing and we have the prices there for years and years.
How do you think Seahawk has managed to stand out in the noise?
I have closed personally deals in less than 3 minutes. I kid you not. And it happens because productized services matters.
How do you actually help businesses retain customers?
Your hosting is shit. Why don't you go to this host and it will be paid better and it's cheaper also. You know how many people's contact forms are not working? 80%.
So can you talk to me about the importance of infrastructure in building all kinds of businesses on WordPress?
Human part of it is a massive element because that one day on the Black Friday sale, if the website crashes, they will say, hell with you guys, we're going to find somebody else. The evolution is so quick right now, I can't even tell you. Every day there's something new, like this Claude WordPress connector. You give a command and boom, it's done.
For the third episode of Customer Stories by Cloudways, I'm having a conversation with Gautam Khorana, COO and co-founder of Seahawk Media, a WordPress design and development agency. Seahawk is well renowned as one of the best white label agencies providing WordPress services to startups, SMBs, and enterprise clients across the globe. Gautam has also co-founded Sitecook, which later became a part of the Seahawk ecosystem and today operates as Seahawk India. In this conversation, Gautam and I explore what it takes to build a services business in a highly competitive space, how Seahawk has grown through the years, and what the future of WordPress and web services looks like. Let's get started.
Welcome to Customer Stories by Cloudways, Gautam. I'm really excited to have you here.
Great to see you here. Thank you for hosting me. Usually I'm the one hosting people, but this is like the other side of the table. So let's see how this goes. Nice to see you, Pooja.
Nice to see you as well. The pleasure is all mine. And I'm glad you're seeing a change. I'm glad you're on the other side of the table. I get to host the host. Gautam, I would love to start with asking you how Seahawk Media began and how you joined hands with them via Sitecook. So what was the story behind Seahawk and Sitecook? What was the gap that you were trying to bridge in the WordPress services space at the time?
Interesting. So I was never in the WordPress and the website development space ever. I was in a family business which is related to gemstones and jewelry, and I'm still a part of it in some way with my parents who live in India. And I was just passionate about doing things on my own and blogging and SEO, search engine optimization, for my family business. So while creating websites for my family business, I started exploring Magento, OpenCart, WordPress, and all of that. And I discovered that I'm passionate about search engine optimization, okay, and some sort of digital work. And I'm a foodie, and I said, okay, cool. Let me use my network and see if I can replicate my strategies for other people. And I created my business called Sitecook. And just after 2 years, I get a message from, and then GoDaddy. I have to give you the story about GoDaddy. GoDaddy was starting off in India in a big way, and they found me, and I was a GoDaddy Pro partner, and they gave me an award called the Business Buyout, and they signed up Mahendra Singh Dhoni as the brand ambassador at that time also. So they were going really big in India, and they posted a picture of me on Instagram. Okay, and I get a message from Instagram from this guy called Ryan, and I said, who is this guy? And Ryan is my co-founder now, and he messaged me, and long story short, we hit it off. And just on Instagram, without even meeting each other, like, we kind of married our companies. I was Sitecook, he had Seahawk. He started even before than me, but we were like 2 employees. I was like 2 employees. He had like 1 employee, like 3-4 people, and it is just Seahawk then. We just started to go with that name, and I'm very proud of it. And now we're a happy bunch of 50 plus from all over the world, and we do everything WordPress, and we service other agencies. We have a direct business. We have an incredible website, thousands of pages. We get, knock on the wood, we get like a lot of traffic on our site. And we service other companies all over the world. We service hosts just like yourself, and we power their white label pro services division. And like I mentioned, we do everything WordPress.
Wow, that was a very interesting way to meet your co-founder.
Yes, absolutely. I'm very blessed, and I'm very glad that he found me, because, and I can say this publicly here, that if Ryan did not find me, and we kind of like did not like push each other to, because he's skilled in some things which I am not, and the other way around. Okay. I probably would have not been in the WordPress space. I probably would have been doing something else altogether. I don't know what, but we kind of like, pushed each other to become better in what we do. So we really complemented each other. And yes, I've said this on a lot of podcasts, which I host on WP Legends side, that finding a co-founder is one thing, staying with that co-founder is another. And you have to just, you can make things happen if you find the right person.
100%. My next question is going to be about what you just said. Why WordPress space? I know Ryan came about and maybe he sparked something, but why WordPress at all? Because it's a very competitive agency. It's also extremely crowded. So why did you and Ryan choose it?
So when I started out my business in India alone, without when I didn't meet Ryan, okay, I had a mix of OpenCart, CSCAS, WordPress, custom code, etc. Ryan was only doing WordPress, okay? And WordPress was, I think, I'm not sure how much. Right now, it's like 43% or 45% of the internet. At that time, must be like 35%. I'm not sure. But no doubt it was a market leader and open source, easy to set up, very easy to navigate. If you know how to navigate, if you have some basic knowledge, you can navigate the WordPress ecosystem really well. And we decided to just go all in, because it's 40% of the internet. And to be very honest with you, I'm not a coder, neither Ryan is. And we were dependent on a team of people, and finding people, I think developers, quality developers, or even like junior, mid-sized developers in the WordPress ecosystem were not that expensive as compared to, other tech. At that time. Now things have changed. We can talk all about it with AI. Everybody is a developer. But considering 2019, 2021, it was, WordPress developers were not that expensive, to be very honest with you. And what we figured out was like, how can we offer incredible quality, products? When I say product, I mean websites at incredibly low prices. That's what people want, right? They want the best at the cheapest price. That's the way of the world. So we figured out a way that we were getting designs made from our European region, because we have some very talented designers based in Poland, and we, if you go to our dribble.com Seahawk, you will see our incredible portfolio, and we figured out a system that we get a design done from Poland and the development done from India and service all over the world. And we have customers from everywhere, like almost like I think 80-90 countries we have must have touched, and even non-English languages. Like, we figured out that WordPress is the best, way for us, because our sweet spot was like in the $3,000 to $6,000 retail range mostly, but we have done like even much bigger projects also. But we were not, and we still are not in the enterprise segment. Okay, we are in the there's fast fashion like Zara, but Zara is really really good. And then there's the likes of Louis Vuitton, Burberry sector. So what we figured out was how can we offer that fast fashion, okay, at the quality of, let's say, fast fashion or Louis Vuitton, without compromising on anything, at an incredibly good price. Like, I think you got the idea, right? So that's what we did, and that's how we became. I would say we became reasonably successful in the WordPress ecosystem. And it's just that you have plugins, you have so much support in the community. The WordPress.org repository is there. There's a solution to everything with WordPress, I would say.
What you're just explaining to me seems like a really difficult goal to achieve. And you have been able to achieve that in a space that is extremely crowded. There are hundreds and thousands and millions of WordPress agencies. So how do you think Seahawk has managed to stand out in the noise? What do you think you've done right that maybe other agency founders are missing?
So what we did versus lots and lots of others, I would say 99.9% of people and agency, they don't do, we productize things. Okay. So when I say productized, so if you go to seahawkmedia.com and you sign up and you go to our app, you will see services and you can see our pricing there. We're not hiding away from pricing. You must have noticed when you go to an agency, if you need a website, I'm not using the word WordPress website, you need a website, request a quote, contact us, right? What we did is we published the pricing and we have the prices there for years and years. We did not shy away from that, okay? Because what happens is if somebody, whether they're in the US, they're in Singapore, they're in Japan, wherever they are in the world, in India, they know, okay, these guys are offering 3 website packages and there are 3 tiers. One is starting at $600, okay, or 50,000 rupees or whatever. Then the second one is starting at 1,500 and the third one is starting at $3,000, okay. that's not bad. I think I'm my budget. I would figure things out. And then they either book a meeting or they set up a calls and they already know. And we also know. Now, this customer has booked a call with us. And this person already has a website, is looking for a rebuild or wanting to move from Drupal to WordPress, etc. So it just makes life super easy. I have closed personally deals in less than 3 minutes. I kid you not. And this guy contacted us, and they book a meeting. So in the meeting, there's a small snippet what they need. So I knew before the call exactly what I have to pitch, because I knew this client had a wine shop and he's struggling, etc. So when I went into the call, I said, listen, I've already looked into the site. I've done this. You have these pages. You don't need WooCommerce. You just need like Google Maps working, reviews working. This is going to be a 10-page build. At that time, I think they were selling 10-page website for $12.99 or something, $12.99 or 14. I think $12.99. And I said, this is going to cost you $12.99. He said, let's do it. I said, okay, cool. I'm just sending you a payment link now. I sent him the Stripe payment link, and he paid also over the call. Because I was prepared. You see, pricing was ready, the meeting was ready. I knew exactly, and this is what I tell my sales team also. Who when they go into calls, that if the note is there, and which typically is, when we go into a meeting, we are very well prepared in most cases. Unless a client has not given us too much information, then we can't help. But usually, when we go into a meeting, and if you go to Seahawk Media, there's a button called Book a Consultation. It's a simple calendar link. We don't do contact forms. The reason is because they book a meeting and we know exactly, and we meet with a smiling face, wherever we are in the world.
Thank you so much for answering that. I think it's one of the most interesting bits of this episode. Gautam, we know that Seahawk has moved beyond just being a service provider. In fact, it's a strong partner to some of the world's largest web hosts, as you just mentioned. What was the reason and thought behind doing this? How did you approach building these partnerships early on? And how impactful have they actually been in scaling your business?
These are very long sales cycles. Ryan and I visit almost every big WordCamps in the world. WordCamps, we love them. We go there. For me personally, it's a great change because I get to be, not like I don't want to be away from my wife and my daughter and my dog, whatever. But sometimes it's like a nice breakaway, and I get to meet my friends and partners over there who have built relationships over 7 years. But tracking back 6.5, 7 years, we went to a small WordCamp in Boston. We met a lot of people. We shook a lot of hands, and we started our conversations, and we closed a couple of deals over there. And it was very pivotal to our success because what happened was we unlocked door for a volume play. Usually when you do SEO, run Google ads, except on YouTube now a little bit, but otherwise we have never ran Google ads. We just do a pure SEO play. We are waiting for leads, for people to find on Google and come to us. But host, for example, they already have customers. 5,000, 50,000, 500,000, millions. Cloudways has millions of customers. You guys have customers, right? So once you expose to them that, wow, you can do this as well, and your customers say, my website is hosted with this company, and these guys are going to help me with the hack site repair or maintaining my website. I trust them. Why don't I go with them? So that led to a big surge in our growth, no doubt about that. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you 100% did. And my next question is the follow-up to that. One of the many problems that you solve is customer churn. And we all know that customer churn is a perpetual problem for all kinds of businesses across the world. And you provide customer retention services. So can you walk me through what the service is, and how do you actually help businesses retain customers?
That's a very good question. So we are actually helping hosts retain customers a lot, okay, in many, many ways. One of the classic example is in the hosting ecosystem. People, end users, the hosts like Cloudways end users, they will bounce off to another host because the customer, let's say Joe's Cookies around the corner, they engaged with somebody, some developer, maybe on Fiverr or somewhere on Google search or wherever they are in the world, and they said, your hosting is shit. Why don't you go to this host and it will be better and it's cheaper also, just because they want to make an affiliate income. And this is true. It happens a lot. So they're taking the customer out of the ecosystem, and they convince them also, because the end user, Joe's Cookies, does not know anything about WordPress. They don't even go to their dashboards usually. They're dependent on the agency or the partner or the freelancer. The reason they do it is because if a client, like I mentioned before, is already hosted with somebody, okay, like Cloudways, and the website got hacked for any reason, or let's say they were playing and tinkering on the website and the about us page got broken, they don't have to find somebody out of the ecosystem, right? They find somebody within the host itself, pay $50, $100, $200, or a recurring maintenance care plans, and that's how a host will retain customers. It's inevitable. Okay.
Is one of the many reasons that Seahawks growth has been accelerated. But would you like to attribute this accelerated growth to any other attributes? Do you think if you can name maybe 2, 3 other things that you think have had a strong impact in getting Seahawk to where it is today?
I would say a lot of reasons. Okay, definitely a good team is one. We are proud to be a remote company, and we have a great team in place. And from small Zomato vouchers to Amazon gift cards, we do everything we can. So yes, having a great team in place definitely helps a lot. Using incredible hosting solutions ourselves, whether it's for staging or anything like that. Imagine like Cloudways, we are proud Cloudways customers also. So easy to manage. We sometimes get websites which are like over 100 GB, and it's just super easy to scale up, scale down, whatever way. And I think solutions like that. But I would say a lot of plugins. The plugin community in the WordPress space has been very helpful to us in our growth as well. We have invested in the top tier business or enterprise versions of certain plugins in helping our customers, and I think every agency should do that. Okay, the reason I'm saying this is because if you invest in, let's say, 5 or 10 or 20 plugins, and depending on the client who comes to you, you activate that, as something as simple as an Elementor license. Okay, very simple, something as simple as an Elementor license. It just changes the dynamic. Something as simple as getting an unlimited SMTP, and you install it, and your clients will start getting contact forms. So certain tools like that, I could name so many things like that, but certain tools like that have been very helpful. And it's all easy with WordPress, right? It's super duper easy with WordPress. But like I mentioned again, things are changing and evolving very quickly. I've used the Claude connector with WordPress also. I don't know if you've tried it or not, but everybody should. The Claude WordPress connector, sky is the limit. Or you can just use Cowork, super duper easy. It's just mind blowing how easy it has become.
You talked about the importance of tools and plugins in the growth of Seahawk. Now, I want to generalize it a little bit. So can you talk to me about the importance of infrastructure in building all kinds of businesses on WordPress? And we're talking of any kind of business that can exist, that you can build with WordPress.
Absolutely. So we also cater to membership websites, for example. A lot of customers come and they say, can you help us set up a membership website? So depending on case to case scenarios, we'll say, sure, absolutely. MemberPress is a great solution, or LearnDash is a great solution, etc. So we have done that. Okay. And then we have done gated, media properties where people want to, show a snippet and they want to charge them, fee for showing more content. And this is pretty big, by the way, because I realized that editorial content, good quality content has become a problem. So there are so many possibilities here. Okay. And I think infrastructure wise, WordPress can handle 99% of everything and anything. That's what I would say. And I would say then another thing which comes to my mind, even simple websites, a 3-pager or 5-pager for somebody who's just starting out. Okay. Just starting out, they don't have to spend too much money if they don't want to do things on their own with AI Builder. AI Builder, it seems easy to us because we live in WordPress ecosystem every day, but for end users, it is really tough sometimes because they still have to buy a domain, get a host, do this, correct, and make sure the SSL is working, SMTP installation. So I think, if you have a system in place, which we do, okay, it changes a lot of things. And we have covered every single thing you can imagine and not imagine in the WordPress ecosystem, except enterprise, of course.
How much do hosting and infrastructure actually impact business outcomes like conversions and SEO and retention?
I wanted to add that. So a small thing as simple as making sure that you have the right server for your client, okay, or malware protection activated makes a massive difference. Okay, I said this over and over again. Do not compromise on hosting. Do not. If you can, just get a managed WordPress hosting. Okay, why would you get shared hosting? For example, you don't need to. It will cost you maybe like $100 extra a year, or get your own server. From Cloudways. Happily, it works really well. So you can start with 1 GB, I think. If I'm not mistaken, because there are so many options to navigate. The DigitalOcean option is there, the Amazon is there, the Google is there, and you can always scale. And I believe that you can start with something small, but don't do a shared hosting server, because malware and speed, it matters a lot, especially when it comes to search engine optimization nowadays. Core Web Vitals, a lot of people don't even know the meaning of Core Web Vitals, but we live and breathe every day Core Web Vitals. So infrastructure matters a lot, because at the end of the day, it all leads to dollars in the bank or leads. Okay, and that can only happen if your infrastructure is really, really strong. And infrastructure, we mean a good host with malware uh, activated, or just sign up with an agency like Seahawk Media, who can maintain your website cleanly and be there for you 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Very clean plug there. Um, since your entire business is built around WordPress, and you also host the WP Legend podcast, where you regularly meet interesting folks from the space, what do you think are the most common performance or scalability issues that you are seeing other businesses struggle with?
Oh, when you say other businesses, would you want me to get into hosts or the hosts end users?
I was aiming towards hosts end users, but you can also talk about hosts.
I would say hosts and users. We've touched on it a little bit, and I discuss this on my podcast a lot, and I talk to a lot of people often on podcasts. Right now, customer acquisition is a big thing for hosts, because everybody's biting and undercutting on pricing, and everybody's offering unlimited at $1 or $2 or $5. So for hosts, customer acquisition is a huge issue. So I think they only have to offer the best at the cheapest, like I mentioned. That's actually true for SaaS companies also nowadays, thanks to AI. You can just build out a CRM on your own. You can build out, live chat software on your own, whatever you want. So for the hosts, that's one. For the end users, of the world, like whether it's Seahawk Media or agencies, direct customers, or the hosting companies, end users, you know, it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. They want service at the end of the day. They want human support, I would say. I was actually discussing this on a panel yesterday, and I think the human part of it is a massive, massive element, because end users, if they'll be happy, they won't, curse you for 99% of the year if the website is running perfectly. But that one day on the Black Friday sale, if the website crashes, they will say, hell with you guys, we're going to find somebody else. So, but if they can pick up a phone or they can email and they can get a response in, let's say, less than 20 minutes, that changes everything. So I would say they're the human support, and talking to a person versus an AI bot on a website will make a lot of difference. And instant support is what will always win, in my opinion. It will always win, because the end users, whether it's Joe's Cookies or whether it's a cafe or there is another much as a jewelry store around the block, small business of any nature, an attorney's website, what do they don't want to go into their WP admin. They just want the website running. They want to get the leads. They want to make sure that the e-commerce, WooCommerce is working perfectly fine. Would you agree? So I think for them, the human part and when they need somebody and they can get a response very quickly matters a lot. And most importantly, if the website gets ever hacked or is slowed down, proactiveness proactiveness matters a lot. I learned this the hard way, but we've been doing this for over 5 years now. But we have like internally a system where we check websites obviously every single day, but we do hardcore checkups at least once a week for every single website we manage. When I say hardcore checkup, meaning somebody's manually going in, looking at the plugin setup, making sure the core web vitals is working well, etc. And we do it in all tiers to some extent. In the higher tiers, obviously, we do a lot of optimization. That's what I mentioned about over the going over the board for customers. Because if you don't do it now, then how will you compete in the space?
Yeah, that's how you're retaining customers for yourselves and others. Gautam, now we're moving towards the end of the episode, and I have a couple of small questions for you, a bit introspective, I would say. Can you start by talking about how do you think the WordPress ecosystem is going to evolve in the next 5 to 10 years because of AI and no-code tools that are coming up?
I don't think I can answer that. I can answer that if you change that question and say, can you tell me what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10 months? I can answer that. Okay, because the evolution is so quick right now. I can't even tell you. I've been discussing this on my podcast also a lot, by the way. And I asked this question. I used to ask, hey, where do you think WordPress is going in the next 5 years? Stop asking that. I say, hey, where do you think WordPress is going in the next 6 months? Because every day there's something new, like this Claude WordPress connector. You give a command and boom, it's done. Everybody is a editorial, I don't know, Vogue level or business standard level editor now, thanks to ChatGPT and Claude and Perplexity of the world, etc. So I think the WordPress is safe for the next decade. The WordPress repositories become much cleaner, much better. The team is doing an incredible job for sure. But I would say that when it comes to using AI and the dashboard, the UI, etc., it needs to be improved very quick as soon as possible. Especially because the new generation who's coming up building websites, they're not going to be looking at WordPress at all. They're going to be looking at everything but WordPress. If they don't want to get their hands dirty, they will probably look at Wix or Squarespace or Shopify's of the world, because it's just super easy. Pay $5 a month and boom, your website is launched. You don't have to worry about anything or hacks or something like that. And the ones who want to tinker around a little bit, with Next.js or other frameworks, then there's no point of WordPress there in any ways, right? So I would say that WordPress needs to evolve very, very quickly to keep up and make sure, and simple things need to be sorted out. Maybe at the host level. Like a contact form or speed or something. I don't know how is that even possible, but something needs to move very quickly. If WordPress, I won't use the word survive because 40% of the internet is there. Legacy is always going to be there. If WordPress wants to thrive, if it wants to continue to grow, then I would say that over the next 5 to 10 years, because you said 5 to 10 years, it needs to evolve much faster than ever before. With AI especially.
You did talk about why WordPress initially, but if you were starting from scratch in 2026, in light of whatever's happening, what the technology shifts are happening around us, would you still be in the WordPress services space?
I will do both equally then. To be very honest with you, if I start now, I would do equally. When I say equally, I would not be 100% on WordPress. I will do 50% WordPress services because there's a big market size there, and 50% I would offer custom solutions. We are about to come up with something very interesting in this space, and because we have so much more options available now, thanks to the Cloud Code and other tools, Cursor, etc. So 2026, and this is a advice for any other agency also in the ecosystem, like WordPress 100%, because 40% of the internet, you will always have business in the WordPress ecosystem. But yeah, you need to, also keep up with the game and, keep experimenting and learning. I'm doing it. That's why the puffy eyes, I'm not sleeping right now because of the excitement around AI and Cursor and Cloud Code, etc. So yeah, that's your answer over there.
This is the last bit of the episode. Would you like to give any final word of advice to our listeners, to anybody who might be thinking of starting an agency in the WordPress space?
Well, honestly speaking, WordPress space 100% go. Yeah, I would say one thing which I made a huge mistake: finalize the plugin suite as soon as possible. Don't wing it. For example, choose the contact form you want to go with and just stick with it for the next 10 years. Choose the SEO plugin you want to stick with, whether it's Rank Math or Yoast, whatever you want to use, stick with it, and invest in these 4 or 5 paid licenses. It will help you so much. Your customers will be over the moon that when you work on their website, you're pre-installing that. And most importantly, make strong SOPs. It could be 5 points, it could be 50 points, it doesn't matter. It really helps you a lot if you have strong SOPs in place. I know a lot of companies, I think 99% companies don't have it, especially if you are starting out. You asked me about starting out. So yeah, invest in plugins, stick to the suite, and most importantly, get very good hosting because that matters a lot. Do not cut corners on hosting and the bandwidth and the RAM and whatever you want to, and stick with it. You don't need to switch if you get great hosting.
Thank you so much, Gautam. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for all the insights and anecdotes you've shared. I had a great time hosting you. I'm sure there's a lot to learn for anybody who decides to watch this episode. So thank you so much again.
Glad I could help. Thank you. Nice to see you, Pooja.